Hi, Bill Henshaw here again, Mr. Constitution, with another recent event that you're going to like a lot. As I just downloaded an article yesterday, written by a nice young girl who doesn't know any better. And Lord knows I was at the top of the class in ignorance when I was 19 years old, volunteered into the Vietnam War at the height of the Tet Offensive. But a really great article that I've annotated a good part of, and I'm going to make it available complimentary to those of you that send the request for information to me at youwinnincourt@gmail.com, because she's complaining particularly about the direction the Supreme Court is going these days, which is great news for us, by the way, because they're starting to act like an Article 3 judicial court for the first time in very arguably 90 years. And this writer, like most of them in the mainstream media, is upset because they're going against so much relatively recent, seemingly applicable case law, most of which goes back to the New Deal, which they didn't tell us was a deck of 54 jokers, and or worse yet, the Reconstruction era following the war between the states that put us into a perpetual system of federal regional martial law rule. But you're going to love this, and I have it annotated throughout in various paragraphs and things. You can look at it. And what she says, for example, about them, destroying all the seemingly applicable decisional law they've made, when you understand what they're really doing is attempting to return to the original intent of the framers. That's saying a lot, and saying it simply and makes it easy for you to understand. And that'll help too when you get my materials. So send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. Modestly priced constitutional defense document packets, good across the board, mortgage bankers, student loans, criminal, family law, IRS, whatever. Um, it makes it easier to understand the concepts. And that's one of the best things I've seen about this article. And I've said that to her in my email. Thank you for doing this. It really is a great tool that I've been able to use here. And like I said, I'm not on her at all for, doing what she did, because she didn't know either at that age. They didn't teach me a damn thing in high school 50 years ago. I might have written the same article, for crying out loud. But you're going to love it. And I'm also going to include complimentary a letter to your governor, demanding to know where the judicial courts are, because we have a right to be in one from day one if the Constitution remains in full force and effect, and if we have sovereign independent states remaining that were admitted into this union. Because once we get into judicial courts, game is over. No one can come into our courts unless we let them, especially state bar association attorneys who control the other side completely. And by the way, all they have there are at best administrative tribunals, if not military tribunals, federal regional martial law. I mean, look at the flag and you go into the courtroom, yellow fringe around it. That's a military standard. And that's the U.S. Attorney General saying that, not me. And Army Regulation 840-10, I believe it is, saying it as well. That's where they think you are. And yet you probably haven't taken an oath and been inducted into the Army, have you? But that's how this just us system works. And we need to stop it. And now, especially for you, those of you that have families, I'm the last in my line. I'll be happy to hear that in Washington, D.C. But those of you with children need to do it for yourselves, your children, teach them by example, and your posterity, so they can stay right with it and keep out of trouble to the maximum practicable extent. So to this end, you're going to love this article and my annotations. It's really, if I do say so myself, one of my better pieces of work. And it will become part of my trial packet and my constitutional defense document packets and jury instructions. This is going to get it across much easier to a jury that we're never going to see, by the way. They can't go to a trial by jury. Number one, they don't have the quote unquote courtrooms. And number two, they can't get in there in front of a jury, with us instructing the jury as to what we want them to do. And this jury, by the way, if we get in front of one, has the power to rule on the facts and the law, independently of the State Bar Association. That's the way it's supposed to work. It's worked that way, arguably, for 800 years, going back to the Magna Carta. If we get back to that situation and get those common law juries, it's over. The government's out of here, and we make our way back to the federated republican form of government of defined and limited powers that we're supposed to have. Not this goddamn democracy, 3 wolves, 2 sheep voting on what's for dinner. My God, they have the same democracy in Pyongyang, North Korea. Would any of you like to go over there and volunteer to leave America and join that country? I mean, think about it. But it's the same system, only they have a higher voter turnout. Story for another day. But that said, as I said, send me an email, uwinningcourt@gmail.com, for information on anything I said in this video. And meanwhile, remember to subscribe, like the videos, tell your friends, get the word out. As soon as we start operating on the same page here and working together, the quicker we get these bastards off our backs. Thank you.